Now, since I have created the user Williams, what I can do is CU Williams. If I get into William, the system will let me go in as Williams. Okay.
Okay. I have a question.
This, yes,
Okay, the goal to go to the root is to give access to to the new users.
yes,
Okay,
is
that
to give
means
access.
in practice, if I want to give the access to a new users, I have to go to the root first.
Yes, you go to the root, and because you have to be root, it's like in French la racine,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
you have to be root first in order to give the users access, right?
Okay.
And give
Okay.
each user the password as well. So now, since I have I was able to access this user, and I know that the IP address of this server, it's basically what? It's this. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open a new task like this one, and I will be doing this. Okay. I will be SSH the user. So I want to SSH the user Williams, because here, if I I SSH, okay, as a vagrant in which I have been creating this server, if I typing SSH vagrant at this IP address, the system will ask me the password that I will be having as vagrant enter, and I should be able to get in because I'm SSH the machine as a vagrant, right? But
Mhm.
since we are working in the cloud and we want to keep stuff really safe, uh, we are now SSH our machine according to who we according to who we are. So since I have created adding myself as a user, okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get out. So I'm gonna exit this machine to log out. So I have basically closed this machine. Now I'm gonna get into this machine as a Williams user. Okay. I'm gonna get into this machine as a William user because I have already added myself here as a user. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say SSH, okay, uh, Williams, SSH Williams, okay. Now I will be typing my IP address 169 dot, okay, 254 dot 206 dot 56, okay. And the system will ask me for the password, and I will be typing my password, which was Williams, enter. So the system is checking, and try again, password, and say Williams, enter. The system is checking and say password. Maybe it doesn't recognize me. Let me try again. The password was Williams, enter. Okay, permission denied. I don't know why the system doesn't recognize me. So let me see here if the system has, I think I have added myself as a William correctly on this virtual machine. So I'm gonna try to SSH again. I hope I didn't forget my password, but I believe my password was William, right?
Mhm.
Let me copy this again and copy that and paste here. Uh, Hopefully the IP address is correct, right? That IP address is 169.254.206.56. Okay. And if I do enter the password, I think the password was Williams. Let me see. Enter. If that will let me go in, it doesn't for some reason.
There is somewhere you can reset the password.
Here to reset the password. Yeah, we can reset the password, but in order to reset it, we need to get in first. And let me go again with Williams. Okay. Now I was able to log in, right? I was
Wow.
able to log in. So the password was Williams one. I think I was
Okay.
typing Williams one. So you can see that from here, I have SSH my virtual machine as a Williams,
Okay.
right?
What's the meaning of SSH?
SSH mean it's a keyword. It's a
Mm-hmm.
keyword that we use in order to, you know, get access to the machine. But
Okay.
yeah, but if I want to, normally speaking, define the meaning of SSH, it's like a connect to the host. Okay, so the
Mm-hmm.
SSH mean connect as a hoster. Okay, if
Okay.
we ask you at your job interview, what does SSH mean? You would
Mm-hmm.
tell them that SSH means connect the machine as a host of the
Mm-hmm.
machine. You know, yeah, this is basically the meaning of the SSH because here I have added myself as a user and then I can SSH, you know, this machine as the
Mm-hmm.
hoster of that machine because I have already added myself into it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this is how this is going to be at work. How you get access, how you log in, how do you have your badge, and how the system is actually recognizing your badge. Because your boss might ask you, if I come back here on this machine, let me maybe clear this. Your boss may ask you, let me clear this machine and say, just, you know, I don't want to get in as Williams. I want to get it as a Vagrant because we are going to add the user from Vagrant base. Okay. So if I get in this Vagrant and log in as a Vagrant, your boss maybe tell you, hey Cyril, I want you, we have hired two workers and we want you to add them. You know, we want you to give those workers the password, the ID and the password in order for them to be able to log in on the system and get into there and do some work. And let's say that they are going to give you two users. The first user will be Frankie one, and the second person will be Frankie two. Okay, or Cyril
Mm-hmm.
1 and Cyril 2. So if they want you to add a user, because they may ask you at your job interview, do you know how to add a user on the system? How
Mm-hmm.
can you add the user on the system? And you will simply say to add a user, I have to say user add, okay? But before say user add, you have to be root, right? So you enter
Mm-hmm.
password, it's a vagrant. Now you can add even we have even we have hired more than 10 workers, you can give those workers the login ID, and the login ID will be the process to add them as a user. Okay, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So to add them as a user, I may say user add maybe the first worker, it's Romaric. Okay, user at Romaric, who is one of the guys that the company have just hired, and they want you as a Linux system administrator to give that person access to the virtual machine, to the server, because this IP address, it's the IP address of the server that is out there running in the cloud. So when you say user at Romaric, enter, now you will say password for Romaric, password for Romaric. I want to give the password for Romaric, and the system will say, okay, what is Romaric password? It's going to be Romaric1. Enter. It's going to be Romaric1. Enter. So the system has successfully confirmed that Romaric is there. Now I'm gonna add another user calling uh uh Clementine. Okay. So from here, I will say uh user at Clementine. Clementine. User at Clementine. Enter password. Password for Clementine. Okay. For
Mhm.
Clementine. Password for Clementine. Enter. Now I will give the password for Clementine, which is going to be Clementine1. I will confirm that password by typing Clementine1. Enter. So Clementine has been successfully, adding in this server. So what does that mean? It means that if I open a new terminal and I want to SSH as a Romaric, because Romaric will be now having access to the server of the company. And the server of the company is what is actually this server. So actually, Romaric can get in this company and update anything because we have added him as a user as well as Frankie. So here now, I will be doing what? I will be SSH, okay? SSH Romaric. SSH Romaric, and then I will be typing the IP address. What is the IP address? The IP address of this server is, it's a 169. So let me go ahead and copy this IP address. Just make the IP address here. So this is the IP address in order to SSH as a Romaric. Enter. Now the system will say, if you want to SSH this server with Romaric, give me the password of Romaric. It's Romaric1. Enter. The system will check and say, boom, I have been logging as a Romaric, because the system knows that even though I have been adding Romaric all the ways, I don't know where I have added Romaric, or maybe I have deleted, but this server with this IP address, it actually knows that Romaric user get access to me. If I change this IP address, I have to change Romaric IP address as well, because Romaric can only access this server by using this IP address. Okay. If I open a new terminal and want to SSH here as a Clementine, I will say SSH. Okay. Uh, Clementine. SSH Clementine at the IP address of the server. Enter. The system will say, give me the password of Clementine. It's Clementine1. Clementine1. Enter. The system will say, good. Clementine can have access on this server because she has been added as a user of, of the server. Okay. This is how we add a user on a system, and this is how we uh, define who can have access on the server, because I wanted to make it clear for you to understand the difference between SSH, the virtual machine, logging as a host, because now Clementine is the host. She's the host of this machine. Okay, she's the host of this server. She can get into this server and she can do whatever she wants to do, update, modify, or whatever, because we have added her on this server. And as well as who, as well as Romaric. Romaric can also get access to this server and get an update or do whatever Romaric wants to do. And you may make the difference here. Whenever you SSH,
Mm.
as a hoster, it
Okay.
shows SSH. Okay. So I wanted to make this part a little bit clear for us to understand the phenomenon behind the SSH. Why do we learn the SSH, and how can you SSH the server out there? So if I open this cloud, if I say data center, uh, if I say data center, if I say data center, the, the question is, give me some data center out there. Okay, the question is, you may see that from here, we have different type of, server. There are so many server. The thing is, to get into one of these server, you need to SSH that server, okay? Because different server here has different IP address. Like this guy may want to access one of these server. He need to SSH one of this server in order to get access into it. And those server has different IP address. The IP address of this server, it's not the same as this one, okay? It's not the same as this one. To get in this server, if the IP address of this server it's 192.168.6.55, and you need to make sure that they have, you have been adding as a user of this server before SSH into this server. I hope I am, really clear with this explanation in order for you to know how this thing is working. In order to get into any type of server here, you need to SSH that IP address. This is what we call the internet protocol of the server. To get into this server, you need to SSH. And this
Okay,
server, yes,
to SSH a server, that
yes,
means you have the command is like SSH, the username and the IP address.
yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Okay. So this is how basically the system is at work. You will be having access to the data center, and each data center, each local, we have one local laptop. You will see the connection down here for all the internet and IP address, all those stuff. Now, if I want to get in this IP address in this server has some specific IP address. But before getting into this server, I need to make sure that I have been adding into it as a user. Okay, that's how it works. Because you may see all this server, and this may be for all American company in the world. And whenever you come inside, you may not be working for the same company. Whenever you came inside, you came here to mind your business, check whatever you have to check on your server, and then get out. That's what's going on at the data center. Okay. So it was really good for me to come back on it a little bit and to show you uh, the reason why we have studied, okay, the SSH last week and why it was so important for us to understand it. So this week, we're going to be moving a little bit on the user, but before moving forward as a user, I would like your uh, let's move in as a user for today classes, and Sunday we're gonna start developing some website. Okay, Sunday will be only the development. So we're gonna put in practice everything that we have been doing and use the IP address to develop a website and see how powerful the IP address is. And we're gonna be using some IP address uh, in order to, develop our own website online, right? So, but for today class, we're gonna be starting, this as a user. So this chapter will be user and user group. Let me come on chapter 0. We are here, user and user group in Linux. We have understood the concept of user and the, what do we understand by a user group? Okay. Initially, we learn how as a Linux system administrator with my local uh, you know computer, I could I should get access. This is my local computer and my keyboard. I need to buy the pen tablet. Okay, this is my keyboard, and this is what we call, okay, the server. This is what we call uh what's going on here. This is what we call the server. Okay, uh this is my server, and here we have learned how to you know get in the server by doing what? By doing the SSH. Okay, by doing the SSH. So the SSH command will give the user access to this machine. Okay.
Okay.
Now,
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, the communication between my local host laptop and the server, it on my IP address. So what does that mean? As a user here, and the user is here, okay? The user is here. When I give access, in order to get in this server, I need to get I need to give access to this user to be able to get in this server. And what will be the process of the user to get access to the server? The user need to have the IP address and SSH that IP address. So the command then to get into it will be what? Will be, okay, SSH, okay, that username. So that user, SSH, that user, okay, now the IP address of the server. So what does that mean? It means that from, if I have uh, two server, three server, and four server, can I SSH those server? This is server, and I know the server here, okay? Can I SSH this server, and this server from this local laptop? Yes, I can. The only way to do that, I need to add my stuff, okay, in this uh, server. I need to add myself in this server, okay, as a user. Also, I need to add myself in this server as a user. Also, I need to add myself in this server as as a user. Okay. Sorry guys for the joy. It's because I'm using my mouse. I'm gonna buy
It's
the pen
perfect. It's
tablet.
perfect.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So so in order to get in this different server, I need to do what? I need to add myself in this server as you call. Remember, this server has its own IP address, and this server got its own IP address. Okay, and this server, okay, I got its own IP uh, address. So those IP address, I can SSH this server, this server, this server, this server from the same, remember guys, from the same local computer. What does that mean? It means that when I open my local computer, this could be my different server that I have out there. In this specific case, those servers got the same IP address, but I can actually generate different IP address for different server and be able to SSH different server. Okay. Now, in order to recognize them in your system, I have the red, black, green, and chocolate. In order to have yourself organized when you work on the virtual machine, you have to come here and click on maybe change the color. If you don't want to rename your virtual machine, you may say, okay, this one will be the red one. This one uh, will be the green one. This one will be change the color, maybe the black one, and this one will be, the brown one, or I don't know if I had the white color here. Let's take the blue one. So I will be knowing that everything that I'm doing here on my red, virtual machine, every command that I'm typing here, it only belong to this server. Okay, that's how you make a differentiate, because we don't want you to make a mistake or kind of download some program in this black server that was supposed to be downloaded in the green server. You should be knowing that I'm working on the green server, so I'm here on the green one. And the reason why the VS Code has been such powerful is because from VS Code we want you to be able to we change what I can put some light bulb here, to be able to differentiate your server, and because we don't want any mistake, because it always happen whenever you work on the server. And if this server uh, if this server may belong to uh, Walmart. Okay, this may be Walmart server. Okay, this server may be for Walmart. This server may be for Bank of America. Okay, Bank of America. Okay, this server may be for which company? AutoZone. Okay, AutoZone. Auto AutoZone, and this server maybe for one of the company like a Total or Chevron, okay, or ExxonMobil or Valero. This server may be for Total, okay. This may be for Total, because Total got a server, my company got a server, your company got a server. Every company that you see out there got the server, and they want some Linux system administration people to take care of those servers. And the company doesn't keep the server, the company location, because the company may get fired. There could be a fire in the company. So if you keep the server, the company location, and if the company get burned, what's going to happen? You will be losing everything. Reason why you will be seeing different server here for different company in the United States. And we call this location the data center. In French, le centre de données informatiques. This is where we keep all the data in the United States of America. You can read here to get all the information. But remember that all the data I've been keeping, here in the server. So if you want to something here, we're gonna get there when we will be on it. You will understand the powerful of the server, because now I can decide. I have my server running out there in the cloud, and I can decide. Okay, let me bring this window here for you to see. I can now decide to, this is one of my uh, this is one of my file. I can decide to push this file in the cloud in my server, and this file will go out there in my server and stay there. So even though somebody steal my laptop or do whatever, my file will be out there in the cloud, saving on my on the server. And I do own my server where I do own my server on the Git repository. So if I come here on Git repository, you will be seeing my repository. Okay, I got stuff here waiting for me. If I come here on my Docker container, I have my Docker hub, and I do have a lot of stuff that I have been saved here in my container. Okay, so this is how you keep stuff in the server. So it was really clear. I wanted to make this part clear for you all to understand the conception of having the IP address, how to SSH the IP address, and how, as a user, you can, SSH this server, okay? Because this server has an IP address, okay? And you just do what? User